Hello and welcome back to Gregway Enterprises Week 15. Today we're going to be talking about 3 techniques: setting goals, eye contact, and the handshake. Let's dig right in and let's start with setting goals. One of the most important facets of setting a goal is you need to believe in that goal. Believe in yourself, but believe in that goal and believe that it's attainable. If you will do this, that's one of the very first part of the foundation of setting that goal. Believe in it, then write it down. So you think it through, believe in it, go through it in every possible angle, every possible detail, and make sure that absolutely it's something that you're all in, and write it down. And be very specific. Be very specific on the goal that you want to achieve. That's super important. And have it measurable. Have it something that when you have a goal, you have something that you can measure your success. It's kind of like working out or lifting weights. You can measure your arms. You can measure your thighs. You can. It's a measurable goal. And then each week, each month, you can see how you're doing. So it begins with believing in yourself, writing it down, really working through it, being very specific. For example, say, my arms are 11 inches and I want them to be 16 inches. Well, write it down. And then every single week on a piece of paper, write down the size and the difference, etc. Have it be a very attainable goal. You don't want to say, I'm going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger in a month. Well, that's just not attainable, is it? We want to have it something to where we know that we can attain that goal, to have that confidence builder, and have it be realistic. That has to do with saying, look, I know that I can get to 12 inches in 2 months. I know I can get in 6 months to 13 inches, etc. Have it be timely. Have your goals be goal-oriented to where they're on a time frame and to where you say, I'm going to attain this goal by this time frame. I'm going to see this many people by this time frame, or I'm going to sell this many people over this time frame. So have it very attainable in the world of sales. And be accountable to yourself. If you find that you're doing something and you're starting to slip or things aren't going absolutely perfect, it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to be perfect. In sales, get lost in the story, get lost in the presentation, get lost in what you're trying to accomplish. Don't beat yourself up that not everything you do is perfect. So be accountable, but do it in a kind way. And most importantly, never quit. Never, ever quit. It does not matter who says you can't do it, how many other people have failed at doing it. Do not prove them wrong. Prove them wrong. And at the end, reward yourself. Whether you say, man, I'm gonna achieve this amount of sales and I'm gonna buy a new car, or I'm gonna go to Hawaii, or I'm gonna buy a new Rolex, or I'm gonna do whatever it may be, or I'm gonna go to the mall and go shopping. Reward yourself. That's really important, because otherwise you're not being fair to yourself. So let's review them. There's 10 of them. Let's believe in yourself. After you believe in yourself and you believe in the goal, let's write it down. Let's be very specific of what we're writing down. Be very detailed. Have it something that we can measure. Having something that we can attain. Make it attainable. Make it realistic. Make it timely. Have a time chart. Have it all charted out so you know your timing. Be accountable to yourself and never, ever quit. And then when you're done, reward yourself. And then you repeat the process over again and again and again. And you'll find that these principles and these things get to be a lot quicker and a lot easier. Let's talk about eye contact. One of the most important tools that you will ever accomplish in the world of sales is eye contact. You must look them in the eye at all times. Look them in the eye. I cannot stress that enough. By doing that, it conveys trust. It conveys sincerity. It keeps you engaged with the client or with the customer, so they know that you're on their same wavelength and you're listening to them. The eye contact also gives you the opportunity to study their gaze pattern. A gaze pattern is when they're looking at your forehead or your chin or in your eye, or they're not looking at you, or they're looking at you really, really sincerely or really, really serious, or they're trying to figure out if you're being honest with them, or their gaze pattern is one that relaxes and they lower their head, and then you know that they've thought it through and that they feel good, or they're smiling. Sometimes people smile and they it's all in eye contact. It's all about eye contact. It also shows respect. It shows interest, and it shows appreciation. Let's go back to the gaze pattern just a little bit. Have you ever watched an MMA fight? If you ever watch a boxing match, what is the one thing that they do constantly? They at all times have their eyes on the opponent's eyes. They never take their eyes off each other. You can read a person so easily by looking in their eye. You can figure out what they're going to do by looking in their eyes. You can see their next move, their thought process, what they're thinking. If they're upset, if they're agitated, if they're relaxed, if they're happy, if they're affirmative. Study their eye pattern. Study their gaze pattern. Super, super important. Let's review the 7. Remember, it conveys trust. It conveys sincerity. It keeps you engaged with the client. You have the opportunity to study them and to figure out through their gaze pattern what your next strategy is going to be, where they're at on that scale of how close you're getting to closing them. You're able to show them respect. You're able to show that you're interested. And you'll be able to show them that you show appreciation to these individuals. Let's talk about the handshake. There's many different types of handshake, and the different types of handshakes that you're going to come across are going to tell you a lot about the kind of person that you're dealing with. There's the power shake. There's a guy that's going to step in and he's going to grab your hand and he's going to show you he's in control and he's dominant and he's the one in power. That's a power handshake. There's the boardroom handshake, generally from the individual that's going to reach across the table to show you that he's the leader of the pack, the alpha, that he is in control of the room. There's one that I don't enjoy. It's the bone crusher, where they're going to grab your hand and they're going to shake it so hard you just want to scream. Don't ever do that one. There's the wet fish. There's nothing I hate worse than the wet fish. You go to shake somebody's hand, and A, they won't look at you, and B, they'll put their hand out, and it's like a wet washcloth. That's horrible. There's the confident shake. There's the one you want. You look them in the eye, you hold on to their hand, you give them a handshake for 2 to 3 seconds, and you let go. If it's a lady, you do it a little bit softer. If it's a man, depending upon the size of the person you're dealing with, you can adjust that handshake and you can adjust the strength level. There's the one that the politicians use. It's the wrist shake, where they will shake your hand and pat your wrist. Well, unless you're running for office, don't worry about that one. There's a sweaty palm. Have you ever shaken anyone's hand and all of a sudden their hand's wet and it's sweaty? It shows that they're nervous. And there's one that I don't enjoy, the queen handshake, where you go out to reach and shake their hand and you just get their fingers. You don't want to do that. You know, it's that one that's kind of showing that they're in a position of a little bit higher level, and that they're kind of, it shows that they're kind of looking down on you, and they're a little bit better than you. You don't want to do that. There's the hand pat. The hand pat is similar to the wrist shake, where they're gonna pat you on the hand, or they're gonna pat you on the wrist, or pat you on the arm, kind of patronize you a little bit. And you know, I'm not really into that. I'm just into looking them in the eye, shaking their hand, getting it done, and doing it right. There's the one where they push you, where they grab your hand. They want to show you they're bigger and stronger and tougher, and they're going to grab your hand. They're going to push you. They want to try to maintain control and dominance. And then lastly, there's the fist bump. Generally, you know, the bro code. You do that if you're friends, you're at a party, you're at a concert, you're having a good time. It's not something that that normally is used in a place of business unless you're dealing with somebody you've known for 20 years, and in essence, it's just a way to make contact, but it's not, an initial meeting. You want to have that confident shake. So let's review them. There's the power shake, there's the boardroom shake, there's the bone crusher, there's the wet fish, there's the confident shake, there's the wrist shake, the sweaty palm shake, the queen shake, the hand pat shake, being pushed, and the fist bump. I would encourage you to review these videos, study the concepts, internalize them, practice them, go through them again and again. Remember that unless you set a goal, you're never going to accomplish anything. I'm going to say that again. Unless you set a goal, you're never going to accomplish anything. If you will go back through these previous 14 weeks and today the 15th week, and if you will take a little bit of time and take notes and study things and practice and write them down, I can guarantee you that you're going to have success in sales, and your sales and your closing is going to become a much higher ratio. I appreciate you guys. I look forward to talking to you next week on week 16. Stay relentless. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week. Goodbye.